of fashion.
That is it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Do you like Mercedes in general?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Don't hurt yourself or the car. $63,005.
You actually won on Wheel of Fortune. Like, who does that?
Who does that?
Like, literally, who does that?
Top of that.
Exactly. So tell us about it, man. I'm not gonna waste any time on beating around the bush. Like, tell us about the experience, how it all came about, how you kind of just did what you did, the way you did, how you did it in style, elegance, grace, all that good stuff. Tell us about how it all happened.
It's weird. I do game show run-throughs and stuff. I do a lot of different things out here in LA because you know, as an actor, you doing a lot. Okay. So I ended up getting called from the casting director for Wheel of Fortune. Normally people apply to Wheel of Fortune, but I didn't apply to Wheel of Fortune because I wasn't the Wheel of Fortune type in my eyes. But what happened is the guy that called me, he was real cool. I think he was from Louisiana as well. So we had a little, rapport there because we both were familiar with Louisiana. And I was telling him, I was like, you know what? I think I'm a little bit too ghetto for Wheel of Fortune. I said, I'm a little, my energy is high. I try to use those words. I'm like, I'm a bit too much for Wheel of Fortune. And he was like, no, they've hired some different people and they're looking for new types of personalities and people just like you. And so he kind of sold me on that. And I was like, okay, so I was being who I normally am. And it went well the first round. And then there's another round. Now, let me tell you, this second round of Wheel of Fortune's audition is difficult. And it's like a lot of puzzles. And then you're acting as if you're playing with two other people. You're performing this I say perform because they want to see your energy and how you interact. And so I'm used to that part of it, but the game, the puzzle, I was like, oh my God, like the letters, it was way more intense than you see on TV. And next thing you know, I just assumed I didn't do good. I told my mama, I was like, dang, girl. It was like one of them quick conversations, like, oh yeah, whatever. It was what it was. And I just moved on with life because, you audition so much, you get used to hearing those a lot of times. And then you just deal with it. So I didn't care about that much because I wasn't really trying to get it like that. I was just doing it because they asked. 6 weeks later, and this is exactly how long they said it would take, about 6 to 8 weeks. And that was in winter of 2020. And 6 weeks later, I'm just finishing shooting a Super Bowl commercial for a rock star. And so I was already on a high. And the very next day after I shot the commercial, I got a call from the casting, I should say the Sony Studios, to say that they wanted me to come and shoot Wheel of Fortune literally 7 days after that. And I was like, wait, what? So, my mind is already blown because I'm high off this commercial. And then I was like, Lord Jesus, you have had these people call me about Wheel of Fortune. And they're like, normally we like to give 2 weeks to get you a chance to prepare. But unfortunately, we just have to give you 1 week to prepare if that's okay, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. So they tell you all these tips, like Pat and Vanna send you this pamphlet of stuff to help you so that you can do the best you can. They really want you to win. And so all I could do was be a student in that moment. I was like, everything they said, I downloaded the app. I was playing the app nonstop when I had a break. I was doing the little crossword puzzles that I always do in my house. I was looking at the types of puzzles, familiarizing myself with those things, just being a nerd as best I could for 7 days before they brought me to set. And I get to set. And I just have all these things that were like, okay, you know what? This made sense. That made sense. After you go back and look at it, but they pull your name like out of a little hat or whatever to see when.
How many names is it? Is it like the process of
elimination? 5 episodes shot that day. So what happened was 5 times 3, 15 people were there and then a couple alternates. So there were 15 different people and they pull a name out per episode so that there's like a random order. And then they also pull what position you start off in. I wanted to get red because I'm from Kansas City and I'm a Chiefs fan and I'm also red is my favorite color. So I really wanted the red spot. And if you watch the show, I was in the red spot. So I was like, yeah, that's good. And then I didn't want to go first. And those were the only 2 things I was asking God. And I didn't have to go first. I went third. Number 3 is my favorite number, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Allen Iverson. Yeah, it's a weird thing. So
all made sense. It all made sense. Yeah.
It all made sense. And so I get up there and they let us practice spinning the wheel and that junk was heavy. Like the wheel was super heavy, and it doesn't look like that. It was so small, but then it was super heavy. So then with COVID, everything was different. Like you had to use like a little thing to protect the wheel so other people weren't touching it after you. So then you had hand sanitize in between every single commercial break. There was so much going on. I've been on sets before and I filmed, but doing that, the multitasking that's required to play the game and do well, hopefully, it was crazy. So as we're playing, you know, you got to look at the boards, you got to look at the vowels, see if you caught a letter already, make sure you clap down here, make sure that you enunciate, make sure that it was just, and look at the board to make sure you actually figure out what the puzzle is. I was like, okay, Lord.
Jesus. So, I mean, so what was preparation like there? I mean, with all the Jesus and okay, Lords and everything else, well, how did you, outside of prayer, how did you actually like position or prepare yourself to go through what was thrown at you? I'm sure you didn't know everything that was going to happen. You didn't know, just have an idea as far as everything in terms of questions and flow operation. So how did you, I guess, mentally and skillfully prepare for it?
That was what it was. When I tell you that I played that app, and I do a lot all day, but I made my time to play the app. I made my time to go through the categories. And one of the tips that they give you, which I know when we're at home, a lot of people might not even pay attention to this if they watch the game. But one thing he said was when you get what are you doing, usually there's an ing. And so he talked about you being common sense maybe, but the preparation happened way before I had the opportunity. I think that a slight advantage is that I am in entertainment, and just like yourself, like we're used to being on the other side of the camera and being able to be whatever that is. And so I know that I wasn't like starstruck or I wasn't afraid of the lights. I mean, people shot that day who watched the show faithfully every single 5 minutes, you know, and they're like, I do, you know, maybe getting a little hot, you know, a little high, like, oh, we do this all the time type of stuff. But when the lights and cameras come on and all eyes are on you, I've been on other game shows and I've brought people with me and I've watched them joke where they be like, you know, you get stuck. And so that preparation probably was before it happened. But for me, one thing I did that I know helped was Pat saying, don't look at the wheel. He said that, and I watched people do it, and they lost. I watched people doing it when I watched the show. I watched YouTube a lot, so I could see and play it as if it were me.
I mean, so it make you dizzy? Is it almost like being afraid of heights? Don't look down.
Think about this. If I'm looking at the wheel the whole time, I don't look up so that I know what the puzzles are. How quick do they say, what letter do you want, or whatever their question is, and you have to say T. If you've been doing this the whole time, by the time you don't even know which letter makes sense at that point. So I never even knew how much money I had because I never looked down. I was so busy like, woo, woo. And I feel like that's why I never got bankrupt. I don't know. God was there and he was moving, and I can't say nothing outside of that. Like it was, the Holy Spirit was just going, and I didn't know what was going on. You know, like White Man Can't Jump, Rosie Perez.
Yeah, Rosie Perez. Yeah.
But she was in the zone.
She was on Jeopardy though.
She was in the zone. It was Jeopardy, but it was the same feeling. You see, it was the same feeling.
Yeah, same feeling. Yeah, man. R.I.P. to Ty Tribbett, by the way. Listen,
yes.
Ty Tribbett. I'm sorry, Ty Tribbett for Jeopardy. Listen, how did you, in some ways, did you watch the game a lot already? Like, did you already know? Like when I watch Family Feud all the time. So if I get on Family Feud, I already know it's okay. Yeah, Steve's gonna say this, so they're gonna do this. But if with you already sort of just, you know, with the callback and with you in some ways, you know, trying to having to just get into the moment and really wait on them to call you back. And then once you get there, you know, that's a real feeling. Did you watch the show at all? I mean, a lot growing up or what?
Growing up, I did. Growing up, I watched it. I watched it with our family. It was just one of those things. My grandma always had it on the TV. My aunties, who I shouted out on the show, they had it on all the time. So I always watched it. As a kid, as an adult, not all the time. It was just like, you know, I just got a TV, you know, recently. So I never really was like TV watching. It was like streaming more so lately. But I started watching it, obviously. I probably watched over 100 episodes within that little 7-day period, just because I was trying to shove it in, because they changed the dynamic. Like they changed the way they do puzzles. I solved one of the crossword puzzles while I was playing, and that wasn't something that used to be on back in the day. It was more of a new thing that they came up with. And the crossword puzzle is fun because you get all like 4 different words. But when I had it, I couldn't figure out the last letter. I was like, I know people who might have saw that and they thinking like you killed it and blah blah blah. No, I did not know what foot was. I had no idea that it was F. I couldn't figure it out until the last second. I landed on a free play when I watched this replay, and I was like, oh, F. It just like boop, and it was like if you didn't get it right then, you cutting it close. But the preparation was strictly that week for the most part to make sure that you know what you're doing. But it worked. I mean, and plus I've lost so many times on game shows. I've been on 3 other big game shows, and I feel like it was just guys saying, you know what, because my feelings were hurt those other times. I think it was just time, and it was just like, you know, sometimes it's your time, and I believe there's a season for all of us, and I truly believe that it's just like it's my season, and I receive that it's my season. So I prepare myself as best I can to allow God to give me those blessings. Yeah,
that's dope. I mean, and that's what it's really all about, man. You know, the letdowns that become the build-up. You know what I'm saying? That you're able to follow through on and be prepared in the moment. So I mean, but let's talk about the Super Bowl commercial, because I saw you do your thing on the Rockstar energy drink. The baby was the headline, of course, because he's the baby. But you had a nice little cameo in there. Let's talk about that in terms of, you know, those moves and things you've been doing as well.
Yeah, for commercial work, as an actor, doing commercial work is like that's your bread and butter, if you will. The artistry side of things, it's great to be in film and get a role in a TV show or something. Unless you're a series regular or like a big time like movie star, financially, as being an actor, it helps when you book national commercials, because they're gonna pay your bills for it, depending on how you're living, for at least 2 years, depending on how you're living. So it's important to book some national commercials. And so for me, that was my first national commercial and my first Super Bowl commercial. I've had some regionals and I've had some other commercials that were not necessarily national. So it makes a difference on how they pay you, depending on what the contract says. Okay, because you might see everybody's commercials everywhere, but they can do some different things to that contract. But this one, not only was it like, it was incredible because it was a Super Bowl, but my team was playing in the Super Bowl. So it was like highlighting it was incredible. There was literally like, this was like the best thing that could happen to a tomboy / actor, because I mean, I said my team is playing and
the Super Bowl, and even though they laid almost a goose egg, but still they were still there though. You know what I'm saying?
Like, and it was a heartbreak, but I was so high because ours was a pregame commercial. I was so high that I couldn't even be mad, and plus that was us going back to back. So what can you say?
I mean, so what message do you have then for the struggling actresses or actors out there that pretty much just waiting for that turn? Not even just actors, man. Anybody that's really trying to get to that next level and trying in some ways get their foot in the door. I mean, like you said, you had so many letdowns, so many disappointments, time and time again. But yet when the moment came, granted, bam, you had Super Bowl one week, and then next thing you got a call back the next week. They're like, wow, it all happened so sudden. However, you prepared for the moment. Yeah. So what will be your message and just your overall approach, or just advice you'll give anybody that's in that same space or wait for that same sort of breakthrough or just big break itself?
Yeah, anybody waiting for that big break, I think for me, it's about, number one, the 3 words I like to use is having faith, staying focused, and just finish what you set out to do. Like, if you know that you want to do something, and for me, it is entertainment, because that's just what I love to do. It's not for fame or anything, so I'm blessed in the sense that I'm not looking for fame and trying to be famous, but I do appreciate that we get paid doing something that we're good at or that God gave us the gift to do. And so I just say you got to stay focused, number one, because out here, there's so many opportunities for you to just get into a lot of things. And I don't get into a lot of things that are going to like keep me off track, but I mean, I used to, but I mean, as far as staying focused when it comes to the plan. So like training, making sure you're taking classes for whatever it is. You always got to keep training. And that was another thing that I didn't used to do. It's like a lot of maturity happened where as soon as you start doing those things, you start seeing doors opening that you need to open. But another thing is just, don't, as an actor, and I just say this for any entertainer, because I don't know about like rappers. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing for singers and rappers, because I know a lot of those here, but I work. Like I work. I'm a real like hustler. Like I know
Yes.
people say that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I'm a it's probably a little dangerous the level that I try to do it on because I'm like I work I maximize my time. Like I don't have time for it. And I think a lot of that comes again with maturity. But if you get that early, if you understand that sooner, I think you go quicker, you accelerate a little more. But like I don't like to be broke. And so one thing I learned when I first did it, the way that everybody tells you to.
Yeah.
Oh, if you want to be an actor, move to LA. And, you know, it's going to be hard at first. And there's a lot of people, and for myself as well, you know, you sleep in a car. You might sleep on your friends' couches and stuff. But there's a way that I think you should go about it and not be too prideful to work and or work something that's lenient if you have to. But there's no sense in not having anything because you're waiting for your time.
Yeah.
I truly believe that if you continue to do both, when the time comes, it will sustain you. And so I just say with that wisdom, the wisdom that I've gotten out of these situations, please don't make yourself go hungry. Like if you can work, then work and work. You know, I see that often. But everybody's situation is different. Look at Tyler Perry. Look at Steve Harvey. I mean, there's several people that were homeless and stayed that way, and then it went up. So, but be wise about that. That's all.
I mean, and switching gears on that, I mean, get back to the game show. I mean, you didn't have. You look on there. You look at it. The month is Women's History Month. You know, so we celebrating women. You know, fresh out Black History Month as well. Doing your thing. For sure. I mean, and you were actually. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, you're the only minority at that time that was actually on the show. Mm-hmm. And I mean, and you didn't hold back. You kept it real with yourself. You shout out to people at Missouri. I mean, you didn't get on there trying to make it seem as though you were some big shot that was trying out here making money, making moves. You kept it 100. So in other words, you kept it real with yourself. You kept it real with the people. And for that reason, I mean, you reap the rewards for it. So let's talk about that, man. Just being comfortable in your own skin and always staying true to yourself.
How about, I love that you brought that up, being comfortable in your own skin and always being true to yourself. That's one of my biggest things. I work with a nonprofit organization called TradeWorks Foundation as well. And I do motivational speaking for their foundation. And so we do this overseas. So we go to like Jamaica and we speak to the youth out there. And one thing that I do speak about is confidence and also being true to yourself, loving yourself, knowing who you are. And that's the most forget everything I said before, because technically that's the most important thing. When you get here, if you are confident in your own skin, or when you were in the industry, I should say, wherever that is, if you're confident in your own skin, number one, it's going to read well to the casting directors or your agents or managers or whomever's attention you're trying to get, producers. You know, the confidence is key. And I don't mean cocky, I mean confident. It's like confidence. It's like knowing who you are, whose you are. You go in there and you gotta be sure. And I thank God I didn't really have that identity crisis. You know, I didn't have that thing going, but I know what it's like. I understand where you're not sure. Should I try to fit in? Is it gonna make? But I tell you right now, if you're just consistent across the board, people see your consistency as far as who you are goes, and they honor that. It's like, I don't have to figure out, you know, is she gonna be what I'm gonna not say what I want to say, but like they don't have to worry about me doing something out of character. So I just say, be who you are. I don't know how to be. I mean, obviously you turn it on and off and you need to be professional, but I don't know how to be like fake, and I don't want to be fake. Like I've learned from acting. If you're you, obviously we're acting, but if you're still you, it's received more on the other side of the screen. So identifying with the truth at all times, whether you're being filmed or whether you're walking through life, identify with the truth. Don't put on a show for other people. I don't understand why we were taught to do that, or whoever made that okay, but X that out like automatically and practice loving you. Practice loving you. We're all unique on purpose. We're unique on purpose. It helps that you're different. Trust me, it does.
Yeah. So I mean, and so you also have a podcast. You know, let's talk about the podcast, man. In terms of what you do on the platform you have to go along with all the other different elements of your art. Let's talk about how that came about, what message you spread, what love you show. I'm subscribed to it, by the way, just in case you wonder. And so just in some way talk about exactly, you know, how that came about, you know, what message you try, what content you share, what message are you giving off through the podcast?
Yes, my podcast is called Girl Talk with Jay Marie. And the reason I chose Girl Talk is because I have like a handful of girlfriends, but I don't really like have a lot of female friends like that. But I'm confided in a lot. And I use the word friend lightly because I heard a word one day and the word was powerful. It talked about being a friend. You know, you have to have true commitment whenever you're a friend. So if they need you, you need to be available. You know, there's all these different things when you have friendships that are healthy. And so I don't toss that word around lightly because I don't have the space to be a friend to every single person, but I love a lot of people and a lot of people love me back and they confide in me. And so I wanted to do Girl Talk because I want us to be able to talk about everything related to what we talk about on the side. And also it's Girl Talk, but a wise man is listening. That's my little side note there because men that are smart will want to know what women are saying, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that was the purpose of that. And all I'm about on the show is simply empowering, educating, inspiring, and getting us to go into who we are called to be. And like as far as women, making sure we know that we are the most powerful creature ever made. Sorry, John. But we are the most powerful creature ever made.
I'll give you a pass on this because you won on the game show. All right. It's Women's Month. So I'm gonna let y'all have a pass for now. So it's all good. It's all up. It's all up. It's all up. It's all up.
But it's true. They really are. And, you know, so many women, they dedicate themselves to being a mother or being a wife. And it's a lot of times they don't get that opportunity to do what their heart's desires might be. Not saying that the family is not a heart's desire, but I mean, sometimes there's that buried thing that they wish they would have done. And I'm all about pulling that out of somebody and making sure that they know there's no level that it's too small. It's no time that it's too late. So please, my beautiful girls, like make sure that you go and try everything that you want to do. Go and be everything that you want to be. That you don't have to be on BET or whatever the channels are that people watch that are popular. You don't have to be on these channels or in these on Amazon Music or whatever it is. Just be whatever it is your heart desires. And it's just important because I think fulfillment while we're here in this earth is powerful. So I just like my girls to know that. I talk to them about that. We talk about y'all. We talk about how you know,
how wonderful men are and how we in some ways help to reproduce and nurture and protect. Yeah, those are things. I know y'all talk about that. You ain't got to remind me. I know what it is, Jen. You got to remind me about that. How we're misunderstood. And, you know, we have our moments too. But once again, it's National Women's Month. So I'm going to let that be. Or, let y'all do y'all thing. All right. So I know everybody was hitting you up after the show. I mean, from social media, text messages. I know. I get it. I believe it. But yo, tell me about that new whip, man. How that new whip ride right now? Can you feel me on the new ride you got? You know, anything?
I'm gonna tell you something. This is what's crazy about the whip. So everybody was hitting me up. First of all, thank you so much. If you're watching and listening to this, if you've contacted me and I have not contacted you back, or if you was calling me during that week, I didn't call you back probably because I don't like my phone ringing that much. I don't like my phone texting that much. I don't like messages in my inbox. I have like a weird OCD about seeing like red notifications. And so I try to clear them all the time, but I can't clear it. And right now I'm still freaking out because it's not clear. But as far as the car goes, this is something interesting that people don't really know because this was a popular question when it comes to the game shows. We don't get the prizes right away. So like this was the hard thing about this. I knew I won this January 15th when I shot it. I've been knowing until March 3rd before it aired that this happened. So I've been having to be patient and calm and act like nothing went on because you can't say anything or you shouldn't say anything. And so we get to the day and people are thinking I'm driving it, but you got to think about it. If I show up in a 2021 Benz, everybody like, well, you got a new car. So if they see the show, then they're going to know, hey, she got a new car.
Okay, so they hold out.
Yeah, so they wait to the air date and then they actually reach out to you after the air date to find out, you know, what color car do you want to get? Because you don't have to get like the same one that's on the show floor. Like you get whatever you want as far as that goes. And so I am actually awaiting the arrival of my car. I'll make sure to let you know when that happens. Because the prizes that you win on the shows, you have to wait until after the tape day. Because if something happened and for whatever reason, if somebody cheated or something and whatever, and they didn't air the tape date, they have an option to actually not give you what you won on the show. It would be heartbreaking, but they have an So it's important for it to air first. That's the other reason why you kind of like, let me just make sure, come on, before I get too excited. But yeah, it was.
So you knew for almost for a month that you already won. You had already won. Everybody else
almost 2. I knew for 2 months that
you had already won. So that whole time while you were still going to work every day, doing your thing, you got a Benz waiting for you. You got a Benz waiting for you back.
I got $18,000 in the Benz. So I'm up here like, you know, every 5 minutes. I wish somebody.
So listen. Wait. So for everybody who's still waiting on their income tax check and their stimulus, you was waiting for a Benz for 2 months. You got folks out here mad about their stimmy check ain't got here yet, and their federal or their state income tax hadn't arrived, but you was waiting on a Benz and almost $80,000 for 2 months.
When you put it in that perspective, exactly.
This is crazy. You heard it here first. It's crazy. I mean, no, that's the grind, man. I think that's what we have to realize as a people is that, you got to keep working, regardless of government assistance.
More time for the people in the back.
You got to keep working. Regardless, you got to keep working, regardless of what. Exactly.
I mean, because now the overflow, because you got to think, I did the commercial, I did the game show, I got a promotion at my real job, I've been booking other gigs on the side, movies, whatever, on the side. So projects, commercials on the side. So all this time, it's like increase, but seeds have been sown, and I don't play around when it comes to giving. For those who are listening, I won't say a tither like that, because it's not just church. I give to the church. I give to the people that, God tells us to bless, and he blessed me, because I don't play around with it. I love to give to people. It's something that it makes my heart very happy. So I'm actually about to start my nonprofit organization this year too. So it's a lot happening real fast, and I'm all about that kind of stuff,
So I mean, so any special shout outs to the family, to people that we know, of course, Graham fam in the building. We can't forget the roots to come up. We still getting it out the mud, but yet we still making it do. Any special shout outs to your folks back in the Midwest, or just anything in general you want to share with the people and make people know that you love them, you appreciate it, you haven't forgotten about it?
Absolutely. Yes, indeed. First of all, shout you out. I'm so proud to see you doing your own show, holding it down for the G2. For those who don't know, we went to school together, and
classmate, mass communication. It'll be, hey, RIP to Mr. James Penny. I won't let that go unseen or unknown. Yeah, man. I mean, definitely, people that have helped us along the journey. He was definitely a great man, Graham and worldwide. So yeah, we have forgot about him, man. So RIP to Mr. James Penny, Professor James Penny. I used to call him Dr. James Penny. So, but yeah, go ahead, man. Do you think?
No, thank you for doing that. Seriously, so many people, even from Grambling, that have went on already. RIP, because it's like our people that I was cool with. I hate to see it, and so it just is an inspiration to continue to like get maximize life. I love to say that. So shout out to everybody at Grambling. I hope everything is well. Thank you so much to everybody that's been, again, the support that you get in this industry, obviously, the love and just genuine love too. I'm beyond grateful to everybody back home. Y'all know, you guys are, my Kansas City people are off the chain, and like they are always supportive, and I'm always very grateful. And then I see Grambling is just a second home, so pretty much the same thing. I have a lot of people in LA that are just the best people ever, and so I'm beyond blessed and grateful, and glory be to God, because he is the bomb. Okay, he just keeps showing out.
Yeah.
That's that. Oh, and shout out to Create the Change. That's also the organization that I work with. I do activism with that organization, as well as community outreach. We're marching this Saturday actually for Breonna Taylor. So Los Angeles, Hollywood, here, come meet us in Hollywood this Saturday for the Memorial March.
No, man, we support, celebrate Black excellence, as well as just overall people that are thriving throughout not only just National Women's Month or Women's Month, just all around, man. We definitely appreciate you, Jennifer, for being that inspiration, for holding it down, and for being unapologetically you. That's all you can do. It's be you. So we
That's
thank
all
you for
you
that.
can do. Hey, it's the best thing ever. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. Let's do that.
Definitely, man. Yo, John Huey Radio. Y'all keep it locked, man. Still more to come, man. We appreciate you, Jan. Y'all keep it locked. Peace.
I appreciate you.
Music, interviews, podcasts, and so much more. John Huey Radio. Next level.